Well, here we are. Morning at the park. Dawn. People out walking their dogs. Early people going to work. Tall trees. Really tall trees. Whoa! Sculpture. Oh, look at that. Wandell, Wandell Sculpture Garden. Sorry about not being able to keep the zoom in focus. Or I'm shaking, I mean. So we'll go visit the sculpture garden. Okay, Meadowbrook Park. Look at birds flying in here. There's a kind of a building here. What I would like to do is put a motorcycle battery in a box with the camera and put it on top of this building and get time lapse of kids playing in the playground all day. I'm afraid though that people will misunderstand. I just want the activity in time lapse, and might think I'm filming kids or some crap. Anyway, that's the idea. I don't know if I'll actually do that and climb up there in the middle of the night and turn it on or not. But it would certainly be an interesting video to have a whole day of activity at the playground. Kids running around like crazy. This is the view from the bridge. It's a nice bucolic area. You can see a bunch of logs across the creek here. There were a bunch of beavers apparently that put these logs here, and if I can see in this thing, oh, there we go. See, there's one beaver dam. Beavers love this place, but I think they caused a lot of trouble for the plumbing. Now they got a little log across here, and they put more logs here. The reason all this water is standing here is because there's a big beaver dam we'll see in a minute. But they did quite a bit of damage. So now if we look over here, you can see, oh, there's the park, and there's hammerheads. I didn't take a picture of that one yet. This is one of my favorites, actually. We can't, I'll get it from the other angle. There's two people facing there. And there's the playground, and there's that building I was talking about that has a perfect vantage point that would work to do a great time lapse all day. And then, you know, parking lot, and of course, no Illinois scene is complete without a porta potty. I think the term was copyrighted right here. And here's the stream going out and disappears under this street and these drains and never appears again. I don't know where it goes. This is all part of Yankee Ridge, which is just to the south with my just to the south out by Sherwin Circle. named for my namesake. Chalmers Sherwin, a great solid-state physicist involved in creating the LED. Oh good, I was afraid that this was gone, this work here, because it moved from its place. I really like it. Oh, actually this isn't it. Similar to one that looked like it's called a match or something like that. It looked like a street light that fell over, but it was a match that was broken, I guess, on a giant size like this. You can see back in there. We'll go and see this in a little bit. Anyway, that's the park at dawn. Here's the plaque commemorating what used to be the Wandell Sculpture Garden. Wandell's is a local firm that sells plants and trees and so on. Went to school with Jeff Wandell. Oh, it is Jeff. How about that? And anyway, it's a great thing they did here. Putting a little bit of money into having a sculpture garden. They have some great pieces here. Nobody seems to notice or appreciate them very much, but they'll try and at least record them. This one is called Southern Passage, cast in bronze. Celia Allen and Roger Blakely made this particular sculpture. It's really interesting sculpture. I'm not sure what it means exactly. Not like Fluke, which I hope is still here, which is one of my favorites. At least I understand what Fluke means. This is a sculpture called Here and There by Michele Lanning, made out of steel. Love people who can weld. I can weld. Love burning steel, all the sparks and stuff. Here and There. Looks like sort of a side of a barn with some silos next to it. It's got the round top on one of them. Of course, there's the trouble is if you build sculptures around here, you have to make them bird-proof. Just like if you make them in the south, you have to make them four-wheel drive proof. He's got a nice perch, but he seems characteristically disinterested. And we're coming up on whatever this is. This is a piece called Position Number 1 by Gard, stainless steel and painted concrete. It's I guess obviously a reference to position in ballet. Kind of looks like not two ballet dancers, but I guess this is one ballet dancer's legs. See him do a au pied or hop up. I've forgotten what it's called when they flip their legs back and forth together. You see light flash between them. Jeté, maybe. That's quite a nice piece. It's very big. I can't fit it in the frame. It's obvious where the stainless steel is. Looks kind of nice with the sunrise reflected off of it. And here I guess is a concrete. Painted concrete. Well, we'll see how it lasts. It's a lot of stainless steel, a lot of nickel there, huh? Nice piece. The flamenco dancers are still here, I think, and they're amazing. We'll see them in a minute. Here's a little path that goes back to the creek, and I was talking about the beavers. Now here, came out here this spring, and a lot of the trees that I liked in this park were gone. And the whole area along the creek used to be a wooded area, and I asked some passers-by if they knew what happened. They said it was beavers, and I couldn't believe it, because if you look at this, all the trees look like this. You know, if you look carefully, you'll see if it's beavers with a hand axe. But I guess people cleaned it up afterwards. You can even see the wood chips here. After the beavers probably gnawed through one side and made it dangerous, they had to cut it down. And there's a whole bunch of trees like that that have had to be cut down. So they relocated the beavers. But, you know, beavers are cool. But they're not here anymore. There's the sunrise through the twigs. I don't know how that looks. If you see the shadows, I don't know what the dynamic range of this camera is. Can't quite handle it. I may have a perverse sense of humor, but I really like this one. Prairie Boy. Cast bronze. I mean, it sounds like Prairie Boy, but it's Prairie Boy. And kind of an amazing piece. Kind of like we used to joke about the Sangamon Falls here. There's, believe me, no falls on the Sangamon River. Everything is flat. I mean, you see the horizon in the background. It's not flatter than this any place in the world. See that? I mean, it's flat. You have to learn to love cornfields to live here. Anyway, it's a Buoy, so if I guess if there was a prairie that needed some sort of safety signal or something, I could hook it on this Prairie Boy. It would float right there in the field. It's floating right here in the park. What an imagination, and what a lot of work for it. Kind of a cool joke. Prairie Boy. Good old Cecilia Allen. As promised, we're coming up on Fluke, one of my favorites here. Another theme of the prairie as ocean. See, it's a couple of flukes. Whoop. Sorry about that. The control for the zoom is really touchy on this. Anyway, there it is. Fluke. You can just imagine a whale or a dolphin jumping up out of the water, going back in, and there's this catch them at the middle of the dive. Billingsley, 1998 welded steel. And again, the Wandells are responsible. So now you can say you saw a whale in Illinois. Here's something you see fairly often in Illinois. Now, I have to admit, I'm a city kid, so I don't really know what this is. We used to tell us they were due to crayfish, but this one looks bigger than anything I've ever seen before. There's a hole in the ground. You can see something dug the mud out and piled it up there. Whoop. I don't really see anything in the hole. No walk through the park is complete without an inspection of the beaver dam. This is the main beaver dam. And you can see the water over there. Looks like it's just completely still, placid. The reflections are so clear that I had trouble when I was on the bridge telling what was a reflection and what was the real trees in the viewfinder. There's the reflection and the tree. This is the time, and this is the reflection of the time, to misquote Laurie Anderson. And here we have, anyway, this placid. And then we come downstream. Now they had, because the beavers caused so much trouble, they had to put a pipe in, sort of a spillway, to let some of the water flow through here and flow on out to Yankee Ridge. But I guess they calculated the size of this pipe pretty carefully so that they keep the water flowing but not disturb the beaver's habitat. No doubt some of Mike Walker's fine analysis. Sort of a natural fountain. That's an odd thing. As you travel around the country, you find there's lots of fountains, but most of them are turned off because people can't afford to maintain them or pay for the water or something. I don't know what the problem is exactly. This one, at least, has continued to run for a year. This is a piece by Christian Martins called Molecular Reflections. You can see it kind of looks like, reminds me of that avant-garde piece of music called Ionization. You kind of see where the electrons are about to jump off in some artist's conception. It's a really kind of an interesting piece. Maybe apologize for the handheld camera and the vibration. Here we can see, I don't know if this is the nucleus and these are the electrons. I guess the nucleus would actually be higher mass, so it would have a shorter de Broglie wavelength. So, but anyway, this is interesting. I guess there must be a magnetic field somewhere. Pretty strong one for the size of that spiral. And more stainless steel. Pretty big. I can't But it's pretty clear what it means, or what it is, or represents. It's a beautiful piece of work. Really. I mean, I took welding right here in Champaign from Parkland. I'm a certified welder, and I spent my class welding up little pieces of art out of the scrap steel that they had in class. But I got in trouble for it because they didn't understand. I thought I was wasting steel because I wanted to make shapes instead of, you know, differential housings or drive shafts, weld drive shafts back together, which was what my cousins do all the time. Anyway, there it is. Another great one. And no trip would be complete without showing where Match used to be. So we'll show that location anyway. And we'll go back and see this one. Reminds me of a whole bunch of coins or something. See that? Kind of a doily made out of steel. Boy, that was a lot of welding to put those together. Anyway. Right here where this one is where the Match used to be. It looked like one of those old spherical globed street lights had broken over. I don't know. I guess they couldn't afford to keep it anymore. This one here now, I'm unfamiliar with because it's new this year. Looks kind of like a sphere with a hole in it. Reminds me of a piece that I wanted to make when I was talking about four-wheel drive proof. When I was living in Tallahassee, there were a bunch of, you know, federal forests there. We used to go out and swim in Dog Lake and a bunch of places around there. I wanted to put a icosahedron made out of angle iron with an empty 55-gallon oil drum suspended in the middle, tipped up so that it looked like somebody poured the last drop out, and then was going to bury like 4-inch angle irons in 3 directions in the ground like a tetrahedral arrangement, and then weld it on top of that so that the four-wheel drives couldn't even smash it when they went up back in there. But you know, way leads on to way, and haven't done that yet. Maybe when I retire. Anyway, this is called It's Too Late. Granite and steel. Terrence Karpowicz. Anyway, there's the granite. That must have been, looks like he gave up working that. That's steel, huh? It looks like bronze. I don't know how he finished it. That's a nice piece. It's too late. So I guess that's that sphere is the broken world. And then, you know, blown a piece out of it or broken a piece out of it. And I don't know, I hate these pessimistic views of the future. I mean, if we're talking about terraforming foreign planets, I mean, why don't we just terraform this one? All we gotta do is change the albedo a little bit, or change the reflectivity. If there's actually a problem with global warming, I'm not sure, but there's an ice gauge coming, so I'm not sure that research is really finished with that. But boy, that's politically incorrect to say, so don't let anybody hear me say that. But I've looked awfully close at it, and all I can find is they have some ice cores and that they have a correlation, not a cause and effect, a correlation between the CO2 content going up in the ocean when it goes down in the atmosphere and vice versa. So that makes sense, but that explains why if you look at the temperatures, they tend to be a square wave. I think there's a positive feedback thing that happens because when you heat the ocean, all the CO2 bubbles out of it. So it tends to go to the rails, you know, with positive feedback. So once it goes one direction, it's bistable. You know, about a 10,000 year kind of, really an astable. It's not really a frequency, but you know, 10,000 year kind of time constant, and it shifts from one to the other, these high and low temperatures. And you know, all it has to do is get started, and then the temperature will, if it's high, it'll drive the CO2 out of the ocean, and if it's low, it'll let it absorb back in. But oh well, people don't think about it that way. Okay, Alyssa Neglia, Swift, 2001 steel. And man, I think she didn't know how much work this would be when she decided to build it. Look at this. I mean, every weld. Now I think about making video just like welding a pipeline in particular. You know, you start at one end and you keep welding pieces together. Takes just about as long to put two pieces of video together as it does to put two pieces of steel together. When you get to the other end, you're done. That's the way it is with video. You know, when you get to the end, you're done. You just basically put linear stuff together, one piece at a time. Anyway, look at all those washers. Anyway, I don't know why it's called Swift, but it's a really entertaining piece. I mean, look at all those welds. How long must that have taken? Somebody had holes burned in their clothes, I'll tell you. As promised, here is Flamenco, or I'll find out the exact title, Flamenco Dancers or Flamenco. And wow. And I wanted to do this so you can see all the angles, because clearly looks like flamenco dancers. And you can see from this angle, you can see, I mean, there's a, you know, they have their hands on their hips and their shoulders thrown back, and face to face. Really makes me want to learn to tango. But this is, I believe, flamenco. Maybe it's tango. Looks kind of like a nutcracker from here, and then it's got this four thing that's all symmetrical, so it doesn't look at all like dancers from this angle. It's called, indeed, tango. My mistake. Haven't seen it since the winter. Tango by Larry Young. This one really speaks to me. It's quite an amazing piece. Quite an amazing piece, because it really does look, I mean, connotes tango dancers, you know. You can see him again here. This one is, I think this might be my favorite. It even looks good in moonlight. I don't know which is the male and the female here, or maybe they're, you know, these days it could be both male or both female. But they're certainly good dancers. I don't think I could hold that posture for years. Oh, I can tell which is the female now. This to me seems like some kind of a Stonehenge-y kind of a piece. It's all made of granite. Sphere and a sort of a half post and lintel. Valencia by William Carson. Limestone and granite. So the sphere is granite. It's a big marble, huh? Oh man. Sunrise above Valencia. I don't know what Valencia means. My daughter, when she was here, although she wasn't supposed to, she's quick. Climbed on top of this thing somehow. I don't know how she got up there. Now that I look at it, she went up on the sphere, I guess, and got up there, and she was. He went out to the far end over here where the bird is sitting, and started jumping up and down. I said, "Oh no, Molly, don't do that. Don't do that," because I mean, these guys are great artists, but I don't really trust their structural engineering. Now, she thought that everybody knows how everything works and would do everything exactly right, but I'm not sure that I would want to stand out on the end of that. Well, she was only about 7 at the time, so she didn't weigh very much. She's awfully thin anyway. But Valentia, kind of like balance maybe. Look at the size of that marble, though. I wish you know, it's not really, it's got a hole in the bottom to keep it there, though, so it's not really a perfect sphere. My friend Hud collects spheres of all materials and sizes. You'd probably love this thing. But eat your heart out, Hud. That's the biggest marble I've ever seen. Oh, there was a red-winged blackbird, but he seemed to not like our attention. I guess we'll have to see him another day. He hangs around here a lot, though. Oh, there he is. Came back. Guess he knows he's not threatened now. There is a red-winged blackbird. Really red too. Look at the color of those. Whoa, sorry about that. Those wings. I guess he's telling everybody we're okay after all. Well, she's kind of hanging out there, and I can't do much, but I sure do love red. And look, that is the brightest red. I don't know if that's going to come through on the camera. Red is one of the reddest things I've ever seen in nature. Barry Tinsley made this steel and granite sculpture called Hamilton in 2002. Now, I don't know. Must be something about Alexander Hamilton or something that I don't know enough history to know what he's commemorating here. But looks like he's shooting an apple off of somebody's head or something. Or shooting something. Maybe some smoke coming out of the end of the gun there. I don't know. Is that a gun or an arrow? At least I can tell this is a guy here. Looks like he's studying his musket against a tree. We're going to get out here and get in his sights if we're not careful. I hope we don't get shot. Put the safety on there, Alexander. We're patriots. Now, to get the angles right on this one, I'm going to have to take a number of short clips because, anyway, can't walk very well with this thing. It's anything but a steady cam. It only weighs a few ounces. I think this is called Yikes, but we'll see in a minute. I could be wrong like I was about Tango. Indeed, this is called Yikes by John Aducci, made from bronze. This is one of the favorites among the kids because, well, you could see from back there it looks like a coyote. Kind of like not exactly like the Roadrunner in Coyote. And from this angle it doesn't look like him at all, but from that other angle we saw clearly there were dog's ears and everything. Now, I mean, who can tell what that is from this angle? It looks like a phallic symbol and a cephalic symbol and all mixed together every which way. I don't know what it is from here. I'm sure he thought it out. It probably means something from here too, but well, I can't tell what. Completely abstract. Of course, I like abstract work, but it sure is neat when you can see that coyote or fox with his ears up. Yikes! Probably with some of these cars coming by. Yikes! Look out! Don't get run over. It's what the world has come to. Yikes! Now this is a favorite among the kids. Peter Michele, not Pierre Michele, Peter Michele. Fathers and Sons, 1999, painted aluminum. You can see why it's a favorite among the kids. And they have to tell them, do not climb on it, because they love to climb on it. And in fact, there are kids climbing on it right now. I can see this kid is climbing up his dad's back right there. They're all climbing on it. So, you know, my kids thought that they should join the other kids and climb on it, but I have to say no. Very brightly colored. I really like this. Very happy piece. Reminds me of the op art from the 60s. Anyway, it's pretty obvious what it is. No surprises there. Shadows are interesting now this morning. See, look at that. But it's nice to have something that's simple and straightforward and you can tell what it is. As promised, here are the hammerheads. Quite entertaining. There's a dragon, I guess, off here behind the hammerheads. Looks like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. Yellow Submarine or something. The hammerheads are very interesting. Because they really, I mean, it's a good name. Oh! I'm sorry. That's my kid's name, apparently, Hammerheads. Because the artist called it Minimal Response 3. Painted steel. Ed Benevente. The Hammerheads. Minimal Response 3. Well, I'll never remember that. These are the Hammerheads. That's what the kids call it. They sure look like hammerheads to me. I mean, you can even tell what kind of hammers. Hammerheads. Well, that's well. Visit the Hammerheads another day. Now there's no half moon painted on this thing, or crescent, but there you go, it's the same idea. Now I had to prove though that, I mean, Champaign-Urbana may be known for, you know, John Bardeen inventing the transistor and Plato and whatever became the World Wide Web, you know, Netscape, and a whole plethora of things. But one of the great inventions here is Keith Kemper's Midwest Potty House. You know, now you can say you've seen everything when you've seen the Midwest Potty House. And there it is.